Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Before starting the video, this video I created a special thanks to Peter Khalifa, TLLHK 4600 and Wheeler, Darren Phillips. Peter Khalifa, thank you for 2,000 Nigerians. TLLHK 4600, thank you for 40 rupees. Wheeler, thank you for £2. Darren Phillips, thank you for £2. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 259 based on novel. So let's start. The battle began instantly. The burning hammer waved about and broke through the space itself. In front of the official level undying Fen Ya, the space itself was too brittle. Hence, the huge hammer rushed straight at Luo Feng through the countless space fragments. A resplendent blade flashed. As it flashed, a huge tear in space occurred. I want to see just how strong an official level undying is. Luo Feng wielded his blood shadow blade and clashed head-on with the hammer. Rumble. The space fragments warped as the powerful force of the shockwave rippled to tens of thousands of kilometers, dispersing all the boiling water up. It seemed like a giant was moving the lake itself. Ha ha ha. Fen Ya laughed as he stepped through, every step closing in tens of thousands of kilometers, as he swung another fiery hammer. Luo Feng, however, was knocked hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from the clash earlier. His body had gone numb from the shock, and his internal organs were damaged as he spit out blood, after which he flashed and stood far at the tip of the mountain. He was gazing down at Fen Ya, who was rushing at him. What a terrifying force! I could withstand 8 generals at the same time without being so fatigued. Luo Feng gazed down at the fiery giant rushing at him. The inherited memories were right, the Sha Wu body advantage is indeed huge. This Fen Ya's law comprehension is only around a basic official level, but his body is already at a high official level. As for that hammer, I cannot withstand it. Fen Ya took large strides to come over. Human. Fen Ya's voice pierced through the space. To be able to survive my attack at Sector Lord level, I respect you. But, it's a pity that I have to kill you, time to die. Idiot. Luo Feng snorted coldly. He unleashed his strike travel movement. He simply wanted to test his opponent's strength earlier. Now that he had a grasp of their strengths, he naturally wouldn't go clash head-on again. This Fen Ya was obviously weaker in technique, but his undying body was incredibly strong. 3 blurry silhouettes flashed and Luo Feng appeared suddenly behind Fen Ya. Dutchman's pipe. His blade flashed, it was beautiful and terrifying. Fen Ya used the hammer in his right hand and swung it around. The space around it crumbled, it was almost like a road roller going past a little path. The 3 silhouettes flashed and Luo Feng appeared at his other side. Another flash and he appeared in front of Fen Ya. Another flash and he was behind him. Amidst his mad movement, the blood shadow blade broke through the defense of the hammer, slashing at Fen Ya's side. The blade seemed to cut at the incredibly solid material, but only cutting about half a meter deep in, which was not even a fifth of his hip. There, the blade got stuck and was unable to go deeper. What a solid body. His strength alone is ridiculous, his body is also super solid. Luo Feng's expression changed. Normally, flesh and blood life forms that were able to unleash the same amount of power would naturally still be weaker in terms of how sturdy their body was compared to the rock life forms. And these flesh and blood life forms normally had scales, muscles, and so on for defense. The moment it reached past that, the body was soft and weak. The rock life forms, however, were completely different. They were naturally adept at defense. Much less Fen Ya. In terms of strength, he was at a high official level, however in terms of body sturdiness, he was at least 7 to 8 times stronger than that of a high official. Ha ha. Fen Ya looked at Luo Feng and swung his hammer at Luo Feng's head. Luo Feng swiftly retreated. Clang. While he retreated, he used his blade to defend against the heavy hammer. Luckily, he was fast enough, allowing only 30% of the hammer force to go through. Even with just that, Luo Feng felt his blood boil within but didn't have to spit any blood out. Start eating, Sector Lord, you are incredibly fast. Fen Ya took a stride over and continued to attack. Speed is an advantage too. Luo Feng snorted coldly. He flashed again. In an instant, the entire mountain range was going through a disaster. As the two of them passed by, countless amounts of rubble broke apart and the peak collapsed, the universe space crumbling over and over. Both of them had completely different styles. Fen Ya was strong and sturdy, his body was a stone fortress, however his law comprehension was weaker and his nimbleness and flexibility were weaker than Luo Feng's. Luo Feng relied on the soldier armor to raise his strength to roughly an official's level. However, with his close to emperor-level beast god presence and with his strike travel, he could suppress his enemies. In terms of speed and flexibility, Fen Ya could never catch up to him. Luo Feng flashed over and over, appearing at different spots and unleashing his cold blade attacks against Fen Ya. Fighting with a strong warrior sure is different. Under the barrage of heavy fiery hammers over and over, Luo Feng's movement and blade work were both pushed to their limits. As the enemy pressured him, he once again unleashed his strongest moves, slowly refining them further during the battle. As time passed, Luo Feng was initially forced to block some attacks and take some hits. However, as his movement got more and more refined and he grew more accustomed to how to deal with the attacks, he began to use his blade to affect the flow of the hammers themselves while he dodged. Fen Ya was no longer able to attack him. Fen Ya stood on the mountain range and roared loudly. It was obvious that he was frustrated. When Luo Feng slashed at him, he didn't even block. He immediately used his hammer to attack Luo Feng. "Human, go and die." Fen Ya howled enraged. He no longer cared about Luo Feng's blade and attacks. His eyes were fixed on Luo Feng alone as he swung his heavy hammer, his two huge arms were waving about. It almost felt like attacks were coming in from all directions. Luo Feng realized that the situation had worsened. When he attacked before, Fen Ya would do his best to defend with his hammers. With attack and defense, the pressure on Luo Feng wasn't too huge. Now, however, Fen Ya had lost it. He no longer cared about the attacks, and he focused solely on offense as he swung the two fiery hammers at Luo Feng. Attack! All-out attack! Luo Feng felt like the skies were crashing down on him with the two fiery hammers that were at least a few times bigger than him. Rumble! He accidentally got hit. He was instantly knocked tens of thousands of kilometers away, smashing into the mountain, creating a hole in it. Luo Feng rushed out quickly. Rumble! Countless hammer images madly poured down as Luo Feng was knocked back again. Fresh blood spewed out. Knocked over and over. Over and over. Luo Feng was like a tragic suicide scene. For him to attack Fen Ya, he'd have to get close to him, and when he got close, he would naturally be attacked by the two fiery hammers. Fen Ya didn't even care about being attacked, he simply just swung his hammers madly. Unless Luo Feng chose to retreat, he would simply just become a target. Even with his fast movement, against the lightning-fast mad hammers, he'd avoid them 7 to 8 times but would eventually still get hit once in a while. Damn! Luo Feng's body was numb. He lay on the mountain peak, spitting out fresh blood. I can't fight anymore. Fen Ya's body is too sturdy, it's like AF grade metal. Even if it isn't at F9 grade, it's still at least at F3 grade, my blade cannot slash through and he doesn't even need to care about my attacks. He only needs to hit me. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. The fiery giant took large stride past the space and appeared before him. Human! Fen Ya roared. He was shocked as he saw Luo Feng simply lying there. Had he given up? Howl! A terrifying howl resounded from the mountain range. The formless pressure spread past the surrounding 100,000 kilometers. Even the fiery stone giant changed his expression. Quickly turning to the side, he saw an incredibly huge silhouette rise gradually from the mountain. It was over 100 kilometers in length, and its body was covered in silver scales, which were filled with beauty. Silver scales, with 4 silver strong limbs, along with a silver-scaled tail, and an incredibly glaring pair of huge scaled wings. This was a completely silver-colored peculiar beast, which had dark gold eyes and a peculiar silver crown on its head. The crown, its 4 limbs, scaled tail, and huge scaled wings. In terms of body, these together made the golden horned beast look bigger than it was. The powerful pressure spread throughout, even the official Fen Ya felt fear within. What's this? What life form is this? In terms of size, it should be a space beast. The demon race isn't that big. The flaming giant looked at the sudden appearance of the beast and was completely shocked. He saw the very calm human on the mountain peak beside him. This human has the strength to match an official Undying, is definitely a genius of humanity. This mysterious beast, is this his tamed beast? His sole slave? Or, it's a guardian arranged from his teacher? It's very likely that his teacher is some huge being that arranged a guardian for him. Simply relying on his own power shouldn't be enough to tame such a terrifying being. The sudden appearance of the silver beast made Fen Ya completely ignore Luo Feng. Fen Ya felt pressure. To the point where he didn't even know what beast this was. Completely silver-scaled? Such terrifying pressure? It seemed unlike any of the 12 pinnacle bloodlines of the space beasts. Howl! The beast howled again, its dark gold eyes were staring at Fen Ya. It unleashed its killing intent. Luo Feng stood on the peak beside, gazing at Fen Ya and muttering to himself, I don't believe that if I unleash beast god transformation, deities of the world, blood river energy, combined with the general armor and mysterious Sha Wu Wings, I don't believe that this rock giant can take a fully unleashed golden horned beast. Terrifying, this beast is much more powerful than the star-eating sector lord. The Sha Wu undying Fen Ya was covered in flames as he stood in space. Wielding the two huge hammers and staring at the mountain-like silver beast, his countless years of battle experience made him naturally fear this beast before him. Howl! The silver beast let out a howl, its huge silver wings beginning to flap. As fast as teleportation, it instantly passed over 10,000 kilometers in distance and appeared before Fen Ya, after which it slashed forward. The space was like tofu before it. So fast, faster than any opponent I've met before, even faster than the emperor I met before. Fen Ya was in distress. He was clear that the speed was his weakness against this huge powerful claw. He could only grit his teeth and defend against it with his hammers. Rumble. The space around them crumbled. The two fire hammers clashed with the claw and the over 10 kilometers thick limbs of the beast slashed through as easily as stepping on an ant. It slashed past the two hammers at the official Undying's body. The blade-like slashes of the claw went through everything. The two hammers were knocked far away and Fen Ya was completely torn apart. His powerful body had no resistance against the beast's claws whatsoever. Howl! Immediately after slashing Fen Ya, the silver beast changed from slashing to slamming, pressing down fast on his broken body. Fen Ya was smashed into little pieces. The powerful official level Undying was reduced to powder from a simple slash and slam from the silver beast. However, the powder instantly regained his human form. He looked on with fear at the beast. Emperor level strength. Fog Island actually has an emperor. This beast is actually an emperor. Fen Ya was afraid now. While exchanging blows he could feel it. Emperors were incredibly rare and the chances of bumping into one was simply too low. Luo Feng stood on the distant mountain peak and frowned. His energy didn't decrease at all. He was already reduced to powder earlier, yet it had no effect on his strength. Undying body is indeed an undying body. Even though the golden horned beast isn't strong now, it's still around the level of an emperor level. The silver beast was the golden horned beast. It was the beast in its strongest form. The beast was supposed to have 5 black horns filled with complex gold engravings about it. However, after melding with the general armor, it could take on any form. Luo Feng purposely made the 5 horns into a crown-like look on its head, and as beast god transformation had some effect on the beast's body too, after the fusion of the Sha Wu Wings. Hence, it was hard to tell that it was a golden horned beast. Unleashing beast god transformation. Its 4 limbs grew thicker, and its tail was longer, as it became more like the structure of the beast god. After the golden horned beast's transformation, Blood River Energy, Nameless Manual's first level, it made it 330 times stronger than a human sector lord. Using the amplification techniques like beast god transformation, deities of the world and its ability strengthen. Deities of the world amplified it 7.5 times. Beast god transformation's first level was simply 2 times. However, these two were simply body amplification, they would contradict each other. Just like how deities of the world could reach 36 times and beast god transformation could reach 64, however, the two didn't fully add onto each other. Simply reaching 80 times was already not bad. Hence these two techniques added together currently only had an overall effect of about 10 times. Combined with strengthen. This natural ability had no conflict with anything, it completely added onto anything. Hence, the beast could reach 20 times the max strength just from these techniques. Its body itself was 330 times. With everything combined, 6,600 times the Sector Lord's strength. Finally, with the General Armor's 10,000 times Sector Lord's strength. Its final strength was 16,600 times. It was already in the Emperor level. It couldn't be helped, Luo Feng's current law comprehension was weaker, even with the fusion laws, it was just about Emperor level. Its entire strength was that of a low Emperor level. Of course, with Fen Ya that was 2 to 3 times weaker in body structure and comprehension that was much weaker, it was easy to defeat him. After he reformed from powder, his world ring and hammers flew to his hand and he looked with fear and rage. I have to flee, otherwise I'll be killed. This fog island actually has an emperor, this is seriously bullying. He turned and fled, keeping his weapons in his world ring. He was clear that with or without them, there was no difference against that beast, it would instead affect his speed. Flee? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed coldly at the peak. I let you reform earlier, let's see how you do so again. Star eating. Luo Feng tossed. A gold light flew swiftly at Fen Ya, it was the golden star-eating plant. Simultaneously, the terrifying pressure from the golden horned beast rushed down from above. With a flap of the Sha Wu Wings and the first level of strike travel, it easily reached above Fen Ya, making him look on with despair. Emperor Undying, why have you come here? Fen Ya howled with despair. Right. Fen Ya hadn't even realized up till now that this beast was actually a sector lord. Luo Feng had discovered this when he first began to meld the Sha Wu Wings. The wings were a true treasure. Even the primal Chaos City leader, that level of being recognized it as a treasure, enough to make knights go crazy for. Back then. After Luo Feng acquired them, he melded it for the first time with the golden horned beast. He felt that the wings were simply too heavy and tiring to use. As time passed, it was just like the Luo Fu Chi board, it gradually became one with the body of the beast, almost just like another part of its body. After fully melding, the beast's body naturally gave off an aura. This energy was from the Sha Wu Wings and it released it from the body of the beast. Even though it only released a little of it, it was enough to shock any official level Undying. With the fusion of the wings, there was no way to sense the beast's true strength. True Yang Emperor had said that Yang Shu Emperor had a special treasure that even knights craved for. The moment it was activated, it would be extremely powerful. Luo Feng had exclaimed back then. However, I now have this Sha Wu Wings, it's enough to make the knights go crazy for. Just the pressure I release from it is just like the pressure an Emperor Undying releases. Rumble. Another slash. The poor Ka Wu Undying fleeing hard was instantly reduced to powder. As they regained its form, the beast slashed once again. 3 continuous slashes. Fen Ya kept reforming, and even after a total of 3 times, his strength was unaffected. This was an undying body. Rumble, the 4th time he became powder. The gold star-eating plant madly grew, its speed was naturally not like the golden horned beast. It only managed to catch up after the 4th time Fen Ya was destroyed, countless gold leaves began to swallow the powder. The powder dispersed from the leaves and vanished. The undying plant actually didn't manage to swallow any of the powder. The countless powders reformed into Fen Ya again. What's he using the undying plant for? Looks like this star-eating sector lord hasn't fought with an official before. Doesn't he know that to kill one, he has to either destroy the soul or forcefully annihilate me? Fen Ya looked on curiously at the distant Luo Feng, turning to flee again. Rumble. Another slash and slam, he became powder again and reformed. This emperor beast is another thing, why does it keep attacking me like that? Fen Ya was growing more suspicious, even though it's emperor level, it's barely an emperor. Does it think it can kill me without any consequences at all? Fen Ya fled again. The beast slashed again. Luo Feng frowned on the distant peak. It's like what I read before, killing an undying with an undying body sure is hard. Luo Feng's status was very high, naturally he had read up on this information before. With his methods, he was naturally unable to destroy his soul, he could only forcefully annihilate him. And that was extremely tough. It relied on absolute strength to pressure the enemy and destroy his undying energy. As long as his undying energy was destroyed, the enemy would die. There were 2 ways to forcefully annihilating the enemy. The first was when the difference in strength was huge, like the primal Chaos City leader or knights, they could easily kill an official level undying without any consequences. When the difference was that huge, destroying an undying body was easy. The second was for when the difference wasn't that huge, a low-level emperor killing a high-level official, even though one can keep destroying his body, the enemy can keep reforming it. One would have to pay some price to kill the enemy then, that was to burn some of his own undying energy, burning some of one's own soul. And this was an eternal loss. A low-level emperor burning some of his undying energy would have an instant increase in strength, enough to reach a pinnacle emperor, naturally he would be able to kill an official. Annihilating a high official. Even a low-level emperor would have to recover for 100 to 1,000 years to get this done. Of course. For a high-level emperor to kill a high-level official, even without burning undying energy, using normal attacks while burning some undying energy could achieve the same effect, and the recovery would only take a few years. If it was an emperor pinnacle, then one could easily kill Fen Ya. This was forcefully annihilating. It relied on a definite gap in strength. If the gap wasn't huge, one would have to rely on burning undying energy. Barely an emperor and he wishes to kill me without any consequences? Fen Ya felt the dilemma too. How can I kill him? Luo Feng frowned. Destroying his body over and over doesn't harm him at all. And forcefully annihilating relies on burning undying energy. The golden horned beast is a sector lord, it has no undying energy to burn. What do I do? Luo Feng was stuck. With the golden horned beast's strength, it's easy to win the fight against the Sha Wu Undying. Killing him, however, it's not at the level of burning undying energy. The beast doesn't have undying energy. Have I reached a dead end? Luo Feng pondered on the many options within his mind. Everything was discarded again as none could work. There's only one way. Maybe, just maybe. Luo Feng gritted his teeth. I'll rely on you, Sha Wu Wings. The beast had already unleashed its strongest sky-tearing claw. The next strongest move would be the Sha Wu Wings. This was a treasure given to him by the primal Chaos City leader himself. It was used to flee, and it did have some battle ability too, the leader had told Luo Feng back then. Of course, it was mainly for fleeing and flying. It only had minimal attacking abilities. Luo Feng had experimented with it before and felt that its strongest points were its speed and sharp feathers. Slashing with them while flying at high speeds was like cutting with a blade. Howl! The silver beast flapped its wings and once again rushed at the fire giant Fen Ya. Can you not be so excessive? Why? Fen Ya was worried and angry. This silver beast's instantaneous speed, how can it be so absurd? It's only barely an emperor, it shouldn't be that fast. If it was a bit slower, I'd be able to reach sub-light speed and then escape. Fog Island's resistance was pretty huge. Reaching sub-light speed was the limit. One had to go to the special universe travel spot to reach light speed. As long as one was an undying, with enough time, they could all reach close to light speed. The moment they reached that speed, even if an emperor level was chasing behind, he wouldn't be able to catch up to a normal undying. As everybody's speed was about the same, no one could actually catch anybody. Unless one had teleportation. Hence, the undying battles relied strongly on instantaneous speeds. If the distance was close without sufficient space in between, it would be easy for one to instantly catch up with another ahead. After all, it did take a while to reach close to light speed. Sha Wu Wings 3 forms. I can only trigger the first form currently, and my flight is already at a demonic level. The movement speed is shocking. Luo Feng thought. Even Yang Zhu with his treasure from his father, the moment he triggers it he can fight against a pinnacle emperor. Even though my Sha Wu Wings aren't mainly for attack but used for fleeing, the moment I dodge and flee, unless one has teleportation or time stop, even an emperor-level undying wouldn't be able to catch me. Rumble. The beast flapped its wings and moved fast as lightning as it left a blur in the air. At this point it already reached beside Fen Ya. The feathers were like blades. As it flew past, the feathers acted like blades and slashed at Fen Ya, almost like slashing through tofu as his body split in half at the waist. Fen Ya let out a howl of pain as he was slashed in half. Even when he was reduced to powder before, he had never once let out a cry of pain. Pain, intense pain. The formless piercing energy acted like water. Melting the ice, his undying energy seemed incredibly weak against it as it was forcefully melted away. However, the effect on his body was very minimal, it only instantly destroyed 2% of his undying energy. This was destruction from the root. Fen Ya howled in pain. I've succeeded. Luo Feng stood on the distant peak and revealed a look of glee. With his sensing abilities, he could feel his enemy instantly lose 2% of his undying energy. This effect surprised Luo Feng. Ha ha. This is indeed a treasure even the primal Chaos City leader regards as valuable. Its main use is for fleeing, however it still has some attacking ability, and that little bit is this powerful. And this is but a small portion of its true strength. The Sha Wu Wings were incredibly mysterious. With the trigger of one's body and energy strength, it could trigger mysterious abilities. Luo Feng called this the space energy, and this was the powerful core of the wings. This particular energy allowed the golden horned beast to fly at shocking demonic speeds. The second form of the wings allowed for it to completely throw the space into disarray. One had to reach the third level of bones to trigger it. The third form allowed one to control the space tides. Required fifth level of horn to trigger. This all required the space energy from the wings to trigger. This special energy was incredibly powerful, however Luo Feng could only unleash the first form currently. The space energy was from the core of the wings, but Luo Feng could only trigger a very small portion of it currently. Yet it could already destroy 2% of his undying body. Ha ha, go and die. Ka Wu undying, go and die. Luo Feng was extremely happy. Rumble. The beast flapped its wings and he once again used them to slash past Fen Ya's body. Fen Ya had no ability to even dodge. Even though he reformed over and over, as he reformed, the beast would slash past him again and he would lose another 2% of his undying energy. Even with an undying body, it would only take 50 times for it to be over, if he was a normal undying. Losing 50% of his undying energy was akin to 50% of one's soul, and his consciousness would instantly crumble. With an undying body, even after losing 99% of his undying body, he still wouldn't die. However, the final 1% could at most hold his memories. He would become a cannon fodder amongst undyings. Relying on this 1% to regain all his past strength would require trillions of years. No. No. Fen Ya howled in pain. Spare me, respected Emperor, spare me. Fen Ya communicated mentally to the golden horned beast. Against the beast's terrifying speed, he knew that even if he burned his undying energy to flee, he would still be unable to escape. That mysterious silver beast was simply too fast. In an instant, he was attacked over 10 times. Fen Ya's undying body was left with only 50%, he lost half of his soul like that. Emperor, don't force me, don't force me. He howled. Force you? Other race, just die? The beast's speed was terrifying, its silver wings slashing over and over at Fen Ya's body, destroying countless years of energy accumulated within. The undying body was the core. No. No. Seeing that he was only left with 30% of his energy, he was panicking. Losing half of his strength was too huge a loss, he howled in rage and finally sunk into despair. As the silver beast once again attacked, he let out a howl within. Rumble. He instantly self-destructed his entire undying body. Self-destruct. Fen Ya's final decision. Even if he couldn't kill an emperor, he wanted to heavily damage him. This was his revenge. Rumble, the space about crumbled along with the mountain range. The beast had wrapped itself in the Sha Wu Wings as it was extremely close to the explosion. The wings had the ability to disperse the attacks because of its special material. Before this, out of the trillions of races in the universe, only the primal Chaos City leader knew of the existence of the Sha Wu Wings. Destroying it was hard even for universe masters. This explosion was but a tickle against the wings. It diffused over 99% of the attack, with the final remnants of the force landing on the general armor. As long as it didn't exceed the armor's strength, 10,000 times that of a sector lord, it would be completely diffused. Rumble, the universe space crumbled. The huge beast wrapped in the silver wings flew back tens of thousands of kilometers, before spreading its wings in glory, its cold gold eyes looking forward. It took all the goods left behind by Fen Ya. I have to leave quickly, that battle drew too much attention, there are already some teams rushing over. Luo Feng frowned and looked in the distance. The beast entered his internal world. With a flash, he used his strike travel. However, it was obvious that his usage, compared to the golden horned beast, was on a completely different level. One was mainly the difference in body, and secondly, the beast had the Sha Wu Wings. The death of one of the 12 officials of Fog Island, Boulder, was known to very few. He didn't send out a distress signal before dying, as there were no other allies who were stronger than him on Fog Island. Who could he ask for help from? As for leaving a warning to others? Who would he warn? With the silver beast reaching emperor-level strength, only the 12 officials could actually make a move on it. As for the other 11 officials, none of them were from the Ka Wu race. Since I'm dying, some of you will come join me. Fen Ya didn't care about the others. If they were the same race, he may have warned them, but towards the other races, he wasn't that noble. Luo Feng returned to his base. The star-eating plant grew throughout the caves to protect his palace, and Luo Feng sat within happily. Ha ha, Sha Wu Wings. Teacher gave me a true treasure. His mood was extremely good. He sat and drank his wine as he pondered. I finally got a sense of fighting a strong warrior. That Yang Zhu has a treasure that would make other emperors jealous. Yet now, I have one too, and it's even better than his. Even though its main usage is for fleeing, however it still has some offensive and defensive abilities. He. A thought struck like lightning within his mind. He muttered softly, the golden horned beast's close combat and the blade work of the human body. after which his eyes gleamed. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.